I just received this very big box from a courier, and I just thought I would open it up in front of the camera and would have a look together to see what it is. And I just thought I'd film this bit of the intro in front of my beautiful windflowers, or the anemones that are out in flower. So anyway, let's get into the video. Now I've taken a slice of Thermasheet because it's going to be a lot easier to handle on camera than what it will be trying to handle a large sheet. Now I'm going to quickly go through a few things about Thermasheet. Now Thermasheet is an Australian brand that is similar product to Weedy and Marmox boards. Thermasheet is sold through Trade Warehouse in Western Australia and Victoria. But just note that Victoria is click and collect only. Now I'll put the Trade Warehouse website on the bottom of the screen here in case you'd like to go and have a look at it and purchase some product, but I'll also put a link in the description box of this video to make it easier for you to find. Now the construction of Thermasheet is a high density extruded polystyrene core which is reinforced on both sides with fiberglass mesh plus a top layer of polymerized cementitious mortar. This layering system provides Thermasheet with excellent mechanical resistance as well as an ideal surface. Now it's lightweight, it's waterproof, suitable for inside and outside, cuts easily, comes in a range of thicknesses, tile-ready surface, and high compressive strength. If the thermoboard edges are exposed, the styrene type center needs to be protected. This is easily achieved with a coating of a cement-based adhesive. Now for thicker boards, adding a layer of alkaline resistant adhesive mesh tape and then a layer of cement-based adhesive will offer further durability. Now I made a video on this process and I'll put a link up in the screen there somewhere, and I'll also put the link in the description box of this video as well. Now the Thermasheet thicknesses come in 6, 10, 12, 20 and 50 millimeters. And the size of the sheets are 1200 by 600 millimeters. Now cutting Thermasheet can be done with a sharp knife, handsaw and jigsaw. It's very easily cut. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you those three options on how I cut Thermasheet. Now if you're looking at cutting Thermasheet or any other similar lightweight boards, then there's a few different ways that you can cut it. You can use a box cutter or one of these knives with the snap-off blades. They can work quite well. You can use a handsaw or you can use a jigsaw. And my preference is the jigsaw when I'm doing complex shapes or shapes in general, because I find it quick, easy and reasonably neat. And if I'm doing straight edges, my preference is to use a handsaw because I find that's also quite quick and quite neat as well. I generally don't use the box cutter because I find this a slow process, especially on thicker boards, but it's a personal preference. If you're using any hand tools or electrical items, make sure you follow the manufacturer's safety instructions so that you don't injure yourself. That's very important. When I'm cutting boards or Thermasheet, I always like to use a P2 or an N95 dust mask because of the cementitious coating on these boards. And I also like to wear safety glasses as well in case something happens to flick up. For marking, I like to use a builder's pencil because I find these more durable than a pencil that you may get at a newsagent's or something like that. You can also use texture color as well, something colored if you find that easier to use. And if I am cutting with a knife, I always use a safety ruler so as the edge protects my hand and my fingers at all times. So what I'm going to do is now show you how I actually cut the Thermasheet. Whenever I'm cutting Thermasheet or any other boards, I like to make sure I do it on a bit of a day where there's a bit of a breeze, and I like to be upwind. And the reason being is that the wind helps to keep the line clear of any possible dust that gets on it so you can see the actual line. And also it makes sure that I don't get dust over me. It blows it away from me. Today is a very calm day, so I'm not going to have any wind at all. Well, certainly not at the moment anyway. Now I've put a new blade in this, and you will find when you're cutting Thermasheet or any other lightweight boards, you're going to find that the blades will blunt reasonably quickly. Not enough where you can't use it a few times, but it's going to happen whether you use a handsaw or a jigsaw or a box cutter or one of these knives. So all I do is I just put it on the line, using my safety ruler, it's going to protect my fingers at all times. I don't have the blade right out. I only have it out and I cut it, slicing it. I'm not going to go like that. I'm slicing it. And it's just a matter of doing a number of cuts quite lightly. You're not pushing real hard down on it, but firmly. You just do it a number of times and you'll feel it as it goes through it. There, nearly there. And then you can push down a little bit harder. And there you go. Making sure that, oh, the sun's come out, making sure that it's a reasonably clean cut. And if you have a bit of a slight edge on it, you can just give it a bit of a sand, like that. But it does a pretty good job. It's a bit slower, that's all. I've put my pencil line on the sheet. I'm just going to check to make sure that the actual, where I'm going to be cutting, is going to be kept away from the surface of the counter that I'm on. When I'm holding the saw, I like to hold it with my finger along the side here rather than like that. I like to make sure I hold it like that. You can get a piece of wood or a sanding block, put it on the edge of your line there if you like, and that allows you then to set the handsaw up against that to start it. And then you can remove it once you've made the start, which is there. That just stops it from sliding backwards and forwards by using this block of wood. And you just put it on the end there, hold this firmly so that the Thermasheet doesn't move. And again, you're slicing it. You're not doing it like this, you're slicing it. With a little pressure. Making sure your saw remains vertical as you cut. And you can see a bit of the dust coming off and the polystyrene. If this was a bit of a day where there's a bit of a breeze, then this would all get blown away from you and you'd be able to get a better line, a better side of line as well. I'll just move that up a bit further so you can see it, and I'm going to hold this end now together so as it doesn't drop. If you had something underneath there where it just dropped so far, then it wouldn't matter, but I haven't. The next step, if it drops, is the ground. So I'm just going to hold that, just keeping it firm. Slowing down as I get towards the end here. There you go. And it's done. And again, if you find you want to give that a light sand, you can do so, but that's pretty good. Right, now I've drawn a squiggly line on top of the Thermasheet, which I'm going to cut out using this jigsaw. Now, when you're using a jigsaw, treat it like any tool with respect. Make sure your lead is behind you. Make sure that you are not cutting towards the lead or towards your hands. Keep your hands well clear. Make sure that you are not cutting towards your hands either. And like when I was using the handsaw before, I made sure that any body parts were kept away. Even when I was coming towards the end here, I made sure that it was not going to go near my leg. And it's the same thing when using electrical tools. Treat them with respect and follow the manufacturer's safety instructions at all times. So I'm pretty well good to go. I'm now going to start this, and you'll hear a bit of a noise, and you start it first just to get an idea of it. And then we'll start it and move forward. Now I've stopped it because I'm going to grab this area here with my hand, and when I stop it, I pull back a slight amount, just very slightly, because you don't want to try and keep cutting while it's slowing down. So you stop it and then slowly pull back. Okay, we're good to go. and then you lay it down when it stops. And see what a beautiful job that does. Really, really beautiful. I really do love using the jigsaw when cutting Thermasheet. Really does it really is quite easy, quite quick, but gives you a fantastic finish. Okay, let's go to the Trade Warehouse website and we'll have a look at the sheets and also the pricing. Now I'm on the Trade Warehouse website and I just need to point out that at the time of filming, these prices were correct, so just keep that in mind. Now Thermasheet in the 1200 by 600 millimeter size is sold in a box of 6. So there is another size, which is 2400 by 900, but I'm not going to be talking about that today because the most popular size in the mosaic industry is going to be 1200 by 600. Now to give you an idea, if we're looking at say a 10 millimeter thickness in 12 by 600 millimeters, then we're looking at a price of $229 for a box of 6. Now if you choose the bulk pricing option, if you buy 5 or more packs of this particular size, that will reduce the price down to $176 including GST, which is a considerable saving. But not many people are going to be doing that unless they've got a very big job to do. So I'm going to be working on $229 because that's what most people are going to be buying. They're going to be buying a box of 6. And that works out to be a cost of $38.16 a sheet, which is a very good price. Now, you may get there and go, but I only want a couple of sheets. Well, what I suggest you do in that instance, because you can't buy individual sheets, you have to buy a pack of 6. What I suggest in that instance that you team up with a mosaic artist in your area or someone close by that can help use those sheets, and then let's say you're buying a pack of 6, you can split the cost including the freight, and that would mean then that you each take say 3 sheets. And even in the freight, shipping these out is not terribly expensive. I found that to ship to me, the company to me on the Mornington Peninsula was around about the $15 to $20 mark. Now what you can do, if you want to find out your freight cost, what you can do is go to the checkout. Once you've chosen the thickness and the size you want, go to the checkout, and then you'll be able to key in where you live and it will give you your freight cost. And if you don't want to proceed, then what you can do is exit out and that won't get billed to your credit card. So you can actually find out the cost before being billed to your credit card, which I think is really, really awesome. Before I go, they do actually have an $11 fixed rate shipping charge, but because Thermasheet is a bulky item, that will still be taken into consideration, but you will pay more than $11, most likely. Now, the other thing is too, they have free shipping on goods over $150. Again, there is a surcharge for bulky items, and they have nationwide delivery. That can be from their Victorian and Western Australia warehouses. So anyway, I hope this video has helped you. I hope you've taken something away from it. If you have any comments, perhaps you're using Thermasheet boards, then put it down in the bottom of the comments section, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy.